It's fear of the unknown. It's like, when you go to kindergarten. Remember when you go to kindergarten, or if you have kids that went to kindergarten, they were scared to death. And, am I going to fit in? And am I going to have a sense of community? Am I going to belong there? And so that's probably the biggest challenge. So we're very, very proactive in our outreach efforts to bring people in. And I always say, once they walk through the doors, all we got to do is get them through the front doors. That's it. Once they come through the front doors, because this team and our volunteers do such an amazing job at making people feel welcomed, and it's such a vibrant place. I mean, you walk in and everybody's laughing and smiling and having fun. It's not a sleepy place. It's a very active place. And that's it. Once somebody comes through the doors, I know we've got them, and I know they're going to become part of this community.
Welcome to the Faces of Riverside 2026 magazine podcast, where we give folks that are featured in the magazine a chance to talk about their organizations, the good works that they do, and perhaps look forward to things that are up and coming. That being said, today we're joined by Danielle Stevens, who is the executive director at the Janet F. Goeske Foundation and Senior Center. Danielle, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
The least I could do. Before I have a whole slew of questions that I kind of want to talk about. Goeske has been around for a very long time in this community, and I'm convinced that with new residents moving in and so forth, that not everybody knows about what Goeske's Senior Center is all about and all the things that it does. So I want to cover that. But before we do, I'd like to talk a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I originally started in the education industry. I did that for about 17 years, and then I moved into law. So I ran a law firm for about 11 years. So I've spent my career in service. I live in Corona, and I do a lot of philanthropy in that area, feeding the homeless. And so I started working with seniors, homeless seniors, several years back when I was running the law firm, and realized how much I really enjoyed working with that demographic. And so I left the law firm and kind of did some exploring and came across the Janet Goeske Foundation. And it was a very lengthy process, interviewing process. And I was fortunate enough to land the position as the executive director. It's been just a little over 4 years, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
Well, that sounds fabulous. So 4 years, you say. Can you, before jumping in too far, can you tell us a little bit about who Janet Goeske was?
Yeah, she actually kind of had a similar background in terms of service, right? Her mother was a nurse. She spent her life serving other people. At the age of 15, she was burned over about a third of her body. And so that was kind of her driving force behind wanting to help others. She wore her clothing. She never exposed anything below her neck because of how self-conscious she felt about having these burns at such a young age. And so that was really her driving force. She worked with disabled people and seniors. Those were the areas that she was really passionate about. And so she was just a champion in this city, and she worked hard. She knew many, many people, and she was fierce. I mean, I'm in her office, so it's really cool. I kind of channel her energy. And she was just a fierce individual and worked very, very hard. And just over 4 years ago, she worked with the city of Riverside. She wanted to have a special place specifically for seniors and disabled people to come. And so, 1984, the Janet Goeske Senior Center was born. So we've been going for 40 years, and it's a really, really phenomenal place.
Okay, so for seniors or folks in the community that may know about the Goeske Center, at least by name and its existence, but have never visited, how would you describe it to them?
I would say I think most people think of a senior center as a place for people to come that are maybe not active, or maybe don't have an active lifestyle, or maybe they're just coming in to play some cards or to crochet. And it really isn't that. It really is so much more than just a senior center. We are serving anybody that's 50 and older. So anybody that's 50 and older can come to this center and we can help them with just about anything. We have activities, programs, and services. Any resource that you can imagine, you can find here at the center.
Can you talk a little bit about what those resources, what that looks like? Because I think you're right that people just kind of assume you've got card table set up
Yeah,
and folks can come in and listen to some Lawrence Welk music and
yeah.
play cards, but it's so much more than that. So I want to talk about the services too, but tell me what your thoughts are in that regard.
So I think that initially that's kind of what I thought too, right? I mean, I'm gonna come here. I love this demographic. We want to make sure that people have this really great quality of life in the second half of their life, right? This is your second act. We want it to be amazing. But I think I quickly found out that the navigation piece is what's been really, really difficult for this demographic, especially in this digital age, right? So much has changed. And so we kind of recognized several years back, shortly after I started working here, that we need to do more for our senior community. And when I say senior community, I mean 50 plus. I'm part of that demographic. And so people are struggling. This is all of our first time around the sun here, and we don't know what we don't know. And so we quickly found out that people are having trouble navigating the Medicare system, Social Security. Oh my gosh, is my driver's license going to be taken away because I'm aging? Am I going to lose my independence? I've lost my spouse and I am really sad and I just don't have anybody to talk to. I'm isolated. And so that's our fight. Our fight is against isolation, and we want to make sure that, again, if you're 50 and older and you're struggling with anything at all, we are a hub for you to come for free, and we will make sure that you have the services that you need to thrive in life, not just survive, but to thrive.
So, can you talk a little bit more about the services in particular that and perhaps some of the activities?
Yeah, so as far as activities, we have everything for every age group, right? From 50 to 100 plus. We have pickleball and we have billiards, we have yoga, yoga on a mat, yoga in a chair, tons of different exercise classes. We have a state-of-the-art gym. We have personal trainers, right? We have a lot of people here that are doing strength training. Tons of different types of art classes. We have some very, very talented artists here. And then as far as the resources go, literally anything that you can imagine, anything that you need to help you thrive in your life. So again, Social Security navigation, Medicare, mental health resources, veterans resources. And what we do, because we only have 8 staff, right? We only have 8 full-time staff, but we have over 200 volunteers. And so we've been able to really master this model of having a successful organization that serves people and running it with volunteers. And so we're partnered with about 50 different organizations that allow us to help people navigate services. And that's kind of how we fill the service gaps for people, right? Anytime I hear of a new issue or problem that we're not able to solve, then I go into fast action and find a partner that can help us solve that issue for that person. And so initially we had a lot of service gaps. Now we just don't. We really are able. The motto is kind of no senior left behind. We don't say no ever. And if we don't have an answer or solution for you, we will go out in the community and find it.
That was going to be my next question. So, if it's not self-contained within the Goske Center, you work with outside partners and other
Yeah, we
organizations?
currently, we have about 50 organizations that we're partnered with,
Wow.
which is so exciting because literally when we started this model, we quickly found that, gosh, we just don't have the expertise in all of these areas. Let's go after. And so that's become one of my favorite things to do here is to collaborate with other people that are mission aligned, that see what we see, like what's better than helping people in their second half of their life have an amazing life, or at least enhance it or enrich it.
So, what do you think are some of the things that might prevent someone from wanting to pick up the phone or walk through the front door for the first time? Maybe
Yeah.
preconceived ideas or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common, and probably the biggest challenge that we face in terms of getting people here is just fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's like, when you go to kindergarten. Remember when you go to kindergarten, or if you have kids that went to kindergarten, they were scared to death. And, am I going to fit in? And am I going to have a sense of community? Am I going to belong there? And so that's probably the biggest challenge. So we're very, very proactive in our outreach efforts to bring people in. And I always say, Once they walk through the doors, all we got to do is get them through the front doors. That's it. Once they come through the front doors, because this team and our volunteers do such an amazing job at making people feel welcomed, and it's such a vibrant place. I mean, you walk in and everybody's laughing and smiling and having fun. It's not a sleepy place. It's a very active place. And that's it. Once somebody comes through the doors, I know we've got them and I know they're going to become part of this community.
Okay, so that being said, then what does that first day look like? That first walk through the doors. I understand what you're saying, that with the energy and the atmosphere, that folks will probably almost instantly feel comfortable. But let's assume that I was, as a senior, that I walk through and I'm a little apprehensive about being there in the first place. What can I expect when I walk up to the front counter?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And everybody's different, right? And everybody's looking for a different experience. So what our volunteers do initially when somebody first comes is just to make a connection, just to have a conversation, you know, kind of a soft conversation to find out if it's your first time here and what types of things are you looking for. So we're really looking to just connect, right? We look at different things. Do we have Spanish speakers? Sometimes we have people that literally speak no English at all, right? We have a large Hispanic population here. So we immediately will try to connect them with other people here that speak Spanish so that they feel comfortable. My entire team is bilingual. So that really helps. A lot of our volunteers are bilingual as well. So it's really trying to match them right away with somebody or something that they feel a connection to, right? Whether it's a person or a class, or again, somebody who speaks a different language. And also, like, do you like to be around a lot of people? So it's really kind of just a navigation in the beginning, creating a connection, and doing our best to try to make sure that they feel at home. And then also we give them a tour, right? Everybody that comes in, we take them on a tour so they can see all the different things that we do. Do they want to play pool? We have a full service salon. Do they like to get a massage? So if we can get them through the doors, and then if we can make a connection so that they feel like they belong. And I think that, man, I don't think there's any group that does that better than the Goske group.
Awesome. So
And you can tell because there's 4 to 500 people here every single day.
yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
large facility.
Yeah. 25,000 square feet, over 200 programs every week, and 4 to 500 people here every day. So we're serving, in terms of touches, in terms of how many people and how many services they're exposing themselves to, we're looking at probably over 150,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are busy with a staff of 8,
Yes.
but with 200 volunteers. Do the
Yes,
volunteers,
and growing.
do they tend to stay for short periods of time, or do volunteers stay for 4 years?
You get a few that come and go, some college students that are kind of doing things because of their major, but man, the majority of the people that are here, they stay. I mean, Norm, we've got a volunteer. His name is Peter. He's been here for 30 years serving our lunch program, one of our lunch volunteers. He's turning 102 in April. He also met his lovely lady here, 25.
Wow.
So, I think that you get the Goski fever. You come in, it feels like home. It feels like a second home. You feel like you belong. And then also a lot of our volunteers are seniors themselves, right? So they're retired, their kids are grown, maybe, grandkids aren't living close by, and they want to feel like they have a sense of purpose. So now they're coming in and they're loving on other people to try to get them to become a part of this phenomenal community.
Okay, so I have a aging mother.
Mhm.
She's approaching 90.
Yeah.
We have talked about getting her more engaged in life because I think, as you, I'm sure, well know, she lives alone, and her house, that is 3,000 square feet, has shrunken to about 400. She's in her bedroom, a hallway, the den area, and in her kitchen. She used to be very outgoing. She's a retired professor. And we talk about, or I talk to her about ways of trying to get her more engaged because she's mentored a lot of young people over her career. And I've not been able to get her through the doors yet. So, kind of a two-part question then. Do you have advice for someone like me to help get her to at least experience that Goski enthusiasm? And is there a role or are families involved of the seniors as well?
Yeah, so advice, I think it's finding out it's having a conversation about, you know, what it means to isolate and why is she not wanting to leave? Is she wanting to leave? Is she scared to leave? Does she have independence? Does she drive? Would she be willing to visit the center with you, or if you have any siblings or any family members or a friend. I think support is really important, encouragement, support. I would also recommend, and I always recommend this to people, come get our magazine and take it home to your parent. And once they look at that and they see so many diverse things that we have on our schedule, they typically get really excited about it. The other thing I would say is you tell your mom that I will roll out the red carpet to her and I will personally give her a tour and make sure that she is so excited about this place that she will be a regular visitor.
Excellent.
Um,
Yeah,
okay.
I will hold you to that because yeah,
Time.
because Danielle, quite honestly, that might be the thing that gets
Mhm,
her to show up
mhm.
because her son has a relationship with the executive director, having done this podcast, and she has promised to give her a personal tour, so she'll feel
Yes.
important in that regards.
Yes, yes, and I always keep my word, so and that's important, and it's not lost on me, I have a personal story maybe I can share a little bit later, but I literally the people that I think about the most are the people that are sitting at home isolating, especially those that had a full, rich life, and now for whatever reason, they've lost their independence or they don't feel like they have a sense of purpose. Those are the people that I really want to work hard to reach because we can make such a difference in their lives for the rest of the time that they have here.
Right.
And then as far as families go, in terms of so your question is
Is
like
there
what is the family's role?
well, yeah, is there a so one of the examples that you gave is it's like dropping off a child at kindergarten. There, I wonder if families. In my case, I am a sole caregiver for all intents and purposes. She is mobile, and I did want to ask you about transportation too. But she is mobile. She does drive herself still.
Fantastic.
I'm just wondering if there's a role that I, as her son, who drives her there for the first time, are there opportunities for me to visit and see what she's doing? Are there events or activities that families are allowed to participate in with the seniors, or is it really focused just on seniors?
I mean, it's focused on 50 and older, but we have so many community events. We probably have at least 20 events a year, and a lot of those are open to families as well. We encourage families to come in, especially when you're just getting acclimated. But I'm telling you, it's the same thing as kindergarten, Norm. Really, you just picture this. You come in with your mom, and she's nervous and she's apprehensive for whatever reason and within 30 minutes, she's having a conversation with a group of ladies that she's connected with, and she's forgetting that you're even here. And so on day two, when she comes, she's going to feel great and amazing because this team is going to bend over backwards to make sure that she feels comfortable so that she does return.
Okay.
So, so yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so what I just heard you say is that she won't need me.
No, she won't.
What?
She will not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she may even possibly send me on my way after she's had after the tour.
She definitely will, and it's fantastic that she's driving, but we also have transportation. We have Riverside Connect, we have Dial-A-Ride. We partner with an organization called TRIP, and that's an organization that if you have let's say you have somebody in your neighborhood, just a neighbor that's willing to give you a ride to the senior center, right? TRIP will reimburse that person for mileage for bringing you here. So we just have so much great support that there's no reason why somebody can't get here and somebody can't thrive in this environment.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, that all sounds amazing. you mentioned membership. It's an actual membership into the center as a senior?
So it is,
I heard
it's open to
I
everyone.
heard the word free.
Yes, anybody 50 and older can come here for free, right? We do have a membership model that is optional.
Okay, what's the
So
difference?
there's a $20 and it's $20 for the entire year, right? So for $20 a year, and keep in mind, we're a nonprofit organization, right? We're very different than the city-run centers. City-run centers are they're city funded and they're also managed and run by the city. This center is the building is owned by the city, but the foundation, the Janet Goske Foundation, manages it and has to raise the almost $2 million a year to keep the programs and services free. So just want to kind of throw that out there. A lot of people don't know that. They think that this is a city center and it's not. And so for $20, you get a membership, and there are some perks that come along with that membership. For instance, if you are a member, you get you get into some events for free, or you get to use the billiards room. We have personal training services. If you're a member, you get access to those personal training services. You also get a little discount card. So throughout the community, you get discounts at tons of restaurants and things. So for $20 a year, you can be a member, but it's not a requirement. The doors are open to everybody. So for some people, $20 a year is cost prohibitive, and I don't want anybody feeling like they don't belong here because they can't afford that membership.
Sure, sure.
A lot of people do get the membership though because it's that Goski pride. They want that card. So, it's just a thing, and man, they can't wait. The membership opens up in June, and people are chomping at the bit in June to get their membership renewed.
Okay,
So, which is wonderful because that money goes directly back into programming, and so it goes directly back to the seniors that we serve.
so you mentioned something. You said the word fundraising as a nonprofit, and I've sat on several boards of other nonprofits, so I have some understanding. But for those who don't understand that, or who assume that this was a city provided function, what does fundraising look like? Where do those funds, where are they sourced? Do you have events and things that folks can help contribute to or donate in some way, shape, or form? Talk to me a little bit about the whole fundraising piece, because I imagine that's a pretty important piece
Yeah.
to you, being that there's a $2 million.
Right. So let me just clarify. The city does own the building, and of course, we don't pay rent. So there's that. So technically, it's a city center, and the city does give us some operating money,
Okay.
right? And so they give us some maintenance money, and they give us some operating money. So basically, we're a subcontractor, right? So they give us probably about 15 to 20%. The rest of that we do have to raise.
Okay.
And so what we have done and done really well over the last couple of years is really look at where does that revenue come from, right? We have bingo. We have a bingo license. So every Monday and Saturday you can come join us for bingo, and that money goes directly back into our programming. We have corporate partnerships. That's a big part of what we do, right? We have corporate partnerships with people. We vet people very, very carefully, but if you have a corporate partnership with us, you can come in, you can present your services to our seniors, and then there is giving levels to that. That's another big part of what we do. We also do room rentals. A lot of people don't know that. We rent our space. So if you want to have a birthday party or a memorial service, we have a lot of memorial services here, things like that. Quinceañeras, we do rent out space. But we also do have a lot of events. So what we've done is really looked at where do we do really well with revenue. We've kind of over these last couple of years, we've gotten rid of doing big galas because they're a very expensive way to fundraise. Not everybody loves that idea, but as the leader, it was a decision that I made because again, it takes your team away from the mission. And I lead with love, and I think that the mission is always first. And so we've kind of reevaluated how we do our fundraising. We don't keep adding events. We have certain things that we do. We kind of rinse, repeat each year. We are enhancing the way that we do fundraising. The goal is to have more time for the mission and less time put into fundraising so that you can really focus on the people. And over the last couple of years, we've done really well with that. It's been very successful. We've been able to increase the revenue. Of course, costs continue to increase. We also apply for grants. That's been a big challenge for us in the senior space. the money for senior programming is shrinking. As a matter of fact, 1% of Inland Empire grant funding goes to support senior programs. So we've had to really just reevaluate the things we do. We cannot rely on grant money the way that we have in the past. And so we have to really look at, doubling down on all the things we do well and doing it even better.
So the fastest growing demographic in the country, which I assume translates to our own community here as well, only receives 1%?
1%. And let me tell you, I'll get real honest. The last couple of years, we were able to tap into well over $300,000 in grant funding. This year, 30,000. That's a huge deficit going into a fiscal year with this growing senior population. I mean, you're looking at a population that's going to double in the next 10 years. Double.
Right.
I mean, we have to be prepared. So we've got a lot of big plans, but we just don't rely. And I'm always, as the leader, looking a couple years ahead, right? I'm looking at the political landscape. I'm looking at all of it and just looking a couple years ahead to say we've got to prepare.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the future. You just your eyes lit up when you just said there's a lot of exciting things coming in the future. So can you share some of those things?
Yes. So we are creating really a hub for seniors, right? A place, and I talked about it a little bit already, but a place where anybody in the community, if you're 50 and older, can come again for any resource, anything that you need. But we're not doing it just here because what we're finding is we're seeing hundreds of people through what we're calling our senior resource center, right? Again, I need something, I'm going to go to Goske and they're going to help me. Well, because we're seeing so many people, we want to share this model. Along with our board of directors and some city council people, we've been meeting with local legislators all the way up to the federal level. I've got a trip planned to Sacramento in April, and we are working on renovation plans, expansion plans. We are busting at the seams. A lot of seniors are funneling to this center because of the vast amount of services that we're offering. My plan is, and we've already started this, is to go to, and I'm talking about big, right? I'm talking about changing the landscape for seniors in the region, not just in Riverside, but we're starting in Riverside and we're visiting all these senior centers, any place where there's seniors being housed. So, mobile home parks, senior living facilities. And we are creating this model to say, what's missing is the navigation piece. There's a million people doing services, right? So the services are out there, but the seniors, especially because of the digital divide, they don't know what to do. So they sit at home and they suffer. And then they isolate, and then dementia and chronic illness and all the things. Premature death, I mean, it sounds horrible, but it's a fact. People that isolate, they have a 50% higher risk of getting dementia and dying prematurely. So we're going to be creating kind of this new revolution to say the senior centers and these places where we're housing people and seniors need to be the navigation piece. We need to work together to make sure that if, Mrs. Smith needs housing or food or whatever the case may be, that while she's sitting in front of us, we can make sure that we get her plugged into that resource. And so it's a very exciting time for us. We've already started working with some of the other senior centers, working with people in the city, people in the county. It's just a great time. And honestly, I'm just very excited to be able to, make sure that the seniors in this community have what they need. And, a lot of seniors are coming here because it's just not affordable anywhere else. I can't retire in Orange County. I can't retire in LA County. They're coming. The silver tsunami is a coming. We got to be ready.
So that's so those what you're describing sounds like something that obviously this community, and I assume many other communities, if not all communities, ideally more ultimately need. And I'm wondering, kind of based on what you described, and I want to drill down on expansion for a second. So brick and mortar is fairly limiting, right? You have only so many the capacity for so many people in the center itself. It sounds like what you're talking about is you're doing outreach now to, or you will be doing outreach to other places where seniors are. Does that also include potentially expanding the footprint or adding additional footprints, if you will, within the community? Um,
Yes.
okay,
Most definitely. So we are currently working on, we've acquired with the city of Riverside the parking lot across the street, or the lot, a couple of lots across the street, and that was an almost impossible feat, but we were able to do it. So you're talking about 90 additional spaces of parking. I'm working on a $5.5 million expansion plan. Again, that's part of the reason I'm going to Sacramento in April, to add 5,000 additional square feet to this building. Yeah, the goal is to make sure that the other places have the tools that they need to be able to offer the same types of services, right? What's really cool is we just met with some of the other senior centers, and they're actually going to start coming here and training with our senior resource team so they can learn how to plug in services. And so that's where we really need government, kind of city county support. There's a list of phone numbers that say, if you need something, call these numbers. I've been calling these numbers. You can't get in touch with anybody, you know? And so that's where the roadblock is. You've got way too many organizations. Well, I shouldn't say way too many. A lot of organizations offering services, but the roadblock is figuring out who's offering what and actually being able to hold the hand of somebody who does not understand the digital space, does not, is put on hold, is, told somebody's going to call them back. They feel forgotten already. So we need to step it up as a community and make sure that people in the second half of their life have what they need now. They shouldn't be last in line. Look at our kids now. They snap their fingers and they have what they need,
right.
right? You have a senior who's worried that they're not going to be able to renew their driver's license. They call the DMV. I mean, we all know how the DMV operates. The cool thing is the DMV is sending us people. City code enforcement is sending people here. They have a hoarding situation. Go to Goske. So people are finding out in the community that we are not just a center, that we really are we're going to make sure you have what you need no matter what it is. So that's been really cool. Kaiser's sending us people, so that shows we need more of the navigation, and what better people to do it than the people that are running the senior centers.
Right. Right.
That's where they're going. Or, people living because we're even talking a lot about having like maybe some satellite offices where maybe we can go to the mobile home parks and we can have, a day where we set up where we can help serve those people. It's a big job and it's not something that's going to be done overnight, but I think it really is going to change the landscape for the way that our seniors live, especially in this region.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, hey, share it with everybody else too.
Right.
We're not competing.
Right.
We want to make sure that the people that paved the way before us have a great life, and we're all going to be there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's a common problem across many different types of industries, but government in particular, where everything is siloed, right? So everybody is very clear about what their individual offering is, but do not communicate. There's no single pathway for, in this case, a senior to identify all the different resources and services that are out there.
Right.
You mentioned, what did you call it? The digital divide. So I assume that that's something that is more and more prolific, something that probably has changed or augmented the resources and or services that you're providing. Because using my mom as an example again, at 89 years old, I have demonstrated to her how to attach a document to an email at least 200 times. How how does one, as an organization, help kind of narrow that gap?
So this is a really cool thing that happened to us just a few months ago. We partnered with AT&T. AT&T is putting 100 connected learning centers, which is basically a digital learning center all over the United States, right? So they're putting them at boys and girls clubs and on tribal lands. And we were the first senior center in the state of California to be selected to become a connected learning center. So back in August, with the support of AT&T, they gave us money to create this beautiful room. They gave us computers, curriculum, volunteers to choose from. They gave us 100 laptops to give out. So it's been such an exciting time here because now we have this huge, beautiful, state-of-the-art digital learning center that seniors can go in and they can learn. And they have all these little tutorials. So they can literally just click on the little tutorial and it's 2 minutes and it'll navigate how to open an email or, how to FaceTime your family. And then so the lab is open every day and we have volunteers in there every day, all day. So we have classes for people who want to take classes and we have just open lab time, but always an assistant in there to help them. And so there's people in there, I see them in there every single day. They just really want to learn. So, and we're going to continue doing those things. So, as we continue to add services, we're looking at potentially a hybrid medical clinic. I'm meeting with some people that are doing STEM and STEAM type of programming, artificial intelligence. So, again, we're not just knitting, we've got to keep people on the cutting edge of technology in order for them to thrive. And then you also have your homebound people. So, there are people that just simply cannot get to us homebound. So, we're also looking at some solutions for that.
Okay. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
There is a lot going on at the Goske Senior Center. So
Yeah.
you're obviously working with just a couple more questions. You're obviously working with a lot of folks in government, city and county, and now state certainly as well. Is there an opportunity or a need for individual voices, even those of influence, like within a city here in Riverside, for example, that can help advance some of the things that you're doing? Or should we stand by, other than writing a check as a donation, should we stand by and wait for an opportunity to jump in and help?
Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. So,
So I have a four-part question then.
or maybe yes, yes, yes. No, yes, there's so much happening right now, and definitely. I mean, right now more than ever, our seniors need community support. There's no doubt about that, right? We're in the process of a rebrand, and so that's kind of we're rebranding so that people know and understand that the kind of the stereotypical senior center is not who we are. So we're working on that right now. I'm hoping that that's going to be done before the end of this fiscal year coming up. But yes, we're going to be getting out a lot in the community. We definitely need community support. We definitely need donations. But yeah, I think we're going to be probably forming some advisory committees in the future to get some people of influence. We have an amazing board of directors, by the way. I haven't mentioned them, but this last year I went through a process of building a whole new board of directors. So we have 10 new people on our board that are very just dynamic, kind people, influential people that really, really care about this community. So myself, my team, our volunteers, our board of directors. But yeah, we definitely need support. We need people in the community like yourself, the chamber, to really know what we're doing here. This is big. Nobody else is doing this, and we want to share this model. And yeah, we want to build an army of engaged ambassadors to help us spread this message so that all of our families, get the care that they need so that your mom is not sitting at home isolating at that age. So she's keeping her mind stimulated and things like that. And people don't know that we're here. People don't know that we're here and that we're ready to serve, and that above all, we're never gonna say no to you. Like, never. No's not in my vocabulary. Just ask my team.
Yeah.
I say yes to everything. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned really quickly, that's obviously a lot of different people all kind of rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
You mentioned the board. I understand, having been a part of different boards myself, there's different kinds of boards. And I have heard that the board at Goski is very much engaged and is not there just to rubber stamp or say aye or nay, but actually roll up their sleeves and get involved. Is that an accurate description of the board?
Hands down. Yeah, amazing. Literally. And it was so cool because I was able to handpick the people that I felt were really aligned with the direction that we're going, right? I mean, the first question I asked every potential board member is, are you kind? And do you like people that are 50 and older? And do you want to help them? It was very quite simple, you know? And then we talk about, excuse me, what you wanna do to contribute and how do you wanna contribute. But also that's a requirement. You have to contribute in some way, and little or big, the people, that serve on our boards and people in the community, we all have busy lives, but how can you contribute and how can you help make a difference even in the life of one person? And we're making a difference in the lives of hundreds of people. So yes, they fantastic. Let me tell you, I am excited about board meetings, if you
That's
can believe
great.
that.
Yeah.
I really am excited about them. Yes, we have fun. I feel like I go in and I'm sitting in front of a group of amazing friends and supporters. So there's nothing better. I mean, I spend my days collecting hugs and I spend, time with this amazing board, my team, the volunteers. They're just lovely people,
Well,
all of them.
you have, that sounds ideal, of course.
Mhm.
You have spent this time with me talking about or demonstrating all the things that you do for the organization. And I'm wondering, what does the organization do for you personally? How does it, what do you get? What wakes you up in the morning?
You know, um, I'm gonna share a story, I'll make it really brief, but my dad suffered from some depression, and we see a lot of that in the senior community, right? For various reasons, right? 50%. And he suffered from that, and as he was getting older, he was kind of isolating, same kind of thing, right? So he lived up in Big Bear, and I kinda convinced him. He was kind of a, "I'm good, I don't need anybody," kind of a guy. And, I convinced him. I had this little travel trailer, I wanted to put it on his property, and I said, "Why don't you just let me put my little trailer on your property, and then me and the kids will come up, we'll spend some time," and he was so excited about this, right? We finally talked him into it, like, letting us and, we wanted to kinda help him engage and try to identify how he could really enjoy the second half of his life, and tragically, he was killed in an accident shortly after that.
I'm
And so
sorry.
I know that sounds horrible. I know it sounds horrible, but I think it's important because that's my driving force. Like I feel like we couldn't reach him, right? We couldn't reach him in time and then he was gone. So, as tragic as it sounds, this place for me has been so healing because every day I literally am pouring my heart into the people that we serve. And I can't tell you how healing it's been. So, no, I didn't get the opportunity to do it with him, but I get the opportunity every single day to do it with other people. And I mean, these people are my friends. These people, I, I, I'm literally excited to come to work every morning. It's not a cliche. It's very, very true. And I don't want to leave at night. And so, I mean, now what I do is I use our gym. So I work out at our gym, because I want to stay here as long as I can. And so to me, I mean, what greater gift, to allow me to come in with such support, the amount of support that I have received from this board. I mean, phenomenal. They believe in me. They believe in our mission. They believe in my team and they let me do what I feel is best for the people that we serve. And they just lock arms and say, let's go. So, I mean, I can't imagine a different life. It's really been a phenomenal ride and a beautiful gift.
Well, speaking as a um, citizen that has lived here in Riverside for decades and a couple more decades on top of that, I just want to tell you, and I assume you hear this quite a bit, but I personally really appreciate what you do for the community, for the folks, for the seniors. And I realize that every time have said the word seniors, you have clarified that it's 50 or older. So I did pick up on that, and so I wanted to say that again out loud, but I very much appreciate, what you and your team are doing for the community. It is so necessary and is really impacting the lives of folks that may find themselves on an island by themselves, withering away. So having said that, what question didn't I ask you that I should have?
How much do you need me to donate? There you go.
We'll ask
There you have
Yeah, I'll ask you that one offline. We can talk about that. We can talk about that offline.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Well, Danielle Stevens, I am honored And thank you very much for participating in this and for being a part of the Faces of Riverside magazine every year. And I'm personally here to serve. If folks are interested in jumping in some way, shape, or form, whether that's a donation, whether that's volunteering, I'm going to put all the contact information into the description of the video here, so they have an ability to kind of reach out. From a fundraising standpoint, should they be talking to you directly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any type of fundraising partnerships, they can reach out to me directly. I'm very open, I'm very involved, I'm very present and intentional at the center, so very easily accessible.
Great.